Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. Listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I feel really guilty for doing this. I have an excellent relationship with my daughters. One of them has been at home since spring break due to the university shutting down. She's been using the Tinder app to flirt with local guys. She shows me their profiles sometimes so we can share a giggle or laugh about some of the more ridiculous ones. One of the things that I still cannot quite get comfortable with is that she has a thing for older men. So her matches range from 20s to 40s. She knows I'm uncomfortable with it, and in fact shows me her older matches sometimes just to needle me, in jest. Yesterday, she showed me one of the older guys she's been teasing. I was ready to have a laugh with her until I saw his face. He, Joe, was my high school fling with whom I had a complicated relationship. It is only a relationship that my now deceased parents and ex-husband know about. It's a secret I'm resolute to bringing to the grave with me. Freshman year in college, when both of us turned 18, we went on a road trip to Las Vegas where we got married at one of those wedding chapels. Around the same time, I got pregnant. My parents were rightly livid. When I told Joe about the pregnancy, he freaked out because he wasn't ready to be a parent. Truthfully, neither was I. This was in a time before social media, so it was a lot easier for me to take a year off from college to travel the world. I had the baby, whom I gave up for adoption. Joe also disappeared from my life promptly after the annulment. During that time, I met a very nice man from a fellowship group who, despite my messy history and pregnancy, accepted me for who I am. A year after adoption, recovery, and self-discovery, we married and had my now beautiful daughters. I've completely forgotten about Joe. I tried looking him up. The only thing I could find was another guy with his same name on LinkedIn, but it wasn't him. Desperate, I decided to break into my daughter's phone while she was sleeping. I only wanted his contact information. I read her messages with him to see if they had exchanged phone or email. Luckily, and also unfortunately, they haven't met, but he was coming on very strong. The same guy I knew. My daughter explained to me that unmatching someone permanently cancels him. So I sent him a message from her Tinder, telling him to stay the hell away from my daughter, because she is the half-sibling of his own offspring out there. And then I unmatched him. This morning, my daughter was upset that a guy had canceled her because she's the one who usually does the ghosting. I reached out to my ex-husband, haven't for ages, to ask for advice. He strongly believes I should have been honest with our daughter, but he and I will bring this secret with us to the grave. I reminded him. He suggested I keep looking for Joe to make sure he got the message. I disagree with all the people who say A, OP has to tell her daughter, or B, she has a right to know about her half-siblings. Morally and legally, neither is true. It is OP's secret to tell when OP is ready. In the absence of betraying that secret, OP resorted to the only morally objectionable avenue available to OP to prevent a morally objectionable outcome: her daughter getting together with Joe. The question becomes this: on the balance, is safeguarding OP's very big personal history more important than OP's daughter losing momentary privacy on a Tinder match, of which she's not even aware? I'm going to say OP's deep personal history involving a child with another man outweighs OP's daughter's few days or weeks of flirtation with a man she's never met, and hopefully never will for her own sake. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Starfish Paws says, "You're the a-hole, but it's not too late to fix it. Honestly, talk to your daughter. If it helps, think of it as sharing your story to help her avoid making similar mistakes. She'll still make mistakes because everyone does, but they'll be different ones. And maybe it's time to give yourself a break for something you did when you were very young." Saijin Ren says, "You're the a-hole. If your daughter is an adult, like you've said, then she's mature enough to hear about your past with Joe. I get that you don't want anyone to know about it, but I think you need to explain it to your daughter. If you don't give her a good reason as to why you have broke into her phone, you have now given her ample reasons to never trust you again. And to be honest, your kids should be told about their half-sibling before said sibling comes knocking on the door." White Claw Wasp says, "Everyone sucks here. Honestly, a lot of people are in the wrong here. You for breaking into your adult daughter's phone to hide a family secret, which in all actuality is not very shameful. And your daughter for being upset, not because she may have missed out on a romantic partner, but because she's the one who usually does the ghosting. That's pretty manipulative, icky behavior. This whole thing is a cringe fest. This time, it's about my future mother-in-law, Roberta, 67 female. Roberta and I are both avid crocheters, but she's much more talented than I am. That's relevant later. Anyway, I got it in my head a little while ago that I was going to crochet my own wedding dress. It would be cheap, special, and very personal. Most of the women in my family have made their own dresses, and I wanted to carry that tradition on. I told Roberta my plans, and she was so excited and asked if she could help me and started giving me patterns, advice, etc. I said no, that this was something I wanted to do myself. Roberta was hurt, but looked like she understood. I started working on the dress and made decent progress, though I had a few cat-related setbacks. At the time of this story, I was about halfway done with the bodice, starting to think about sleeves. Yesterday I got a package in the mail with a note that read, "Surprise! I've been working on a little something for your wedding." When I opened the box, I saw the most beautiful crocheted wedding dress. It probably took hours to make, and it was full of these intricate patterns. Frankly, I was upset. I told Roberta that I wanted to make my own dress, and she didn't respect that. I don't feel listened to. Not only that, but what she made was so much better than what I was working on. I mean, it absolutely pales in comparison. I called Roberta about it and said, "What the hell? You know I wanted to make my own dress." Roberta said that she knows, but that she's a more experienced crocheter, and she wanted me to look as beautiful as possible on my wedding day. I got a little mad at this and asked her if she was saying my work was ugly. She told me of course not, but that she had done a lot of work, and a normal polite person would have said thank you, you know? And I responded with, "Well, a normal polite person wouldn't hijack a person's wedding dress." Roberta was outraged and hung up on me. My fiancé said that I was out of line, that the dress is beautiful, and I should apologize. I say that I've dealt with enough crazy demanding crap from him and his family with this wedding, and I just want to have one thing that's mine and mine alone. This dress was supposed to be that, and it really hurts that the experience was taken away. Now my fiancé's mad at me too, and I'm not really sure what the next move is. Am I the a-hole? I think that OP is absolutely not in the wrong. OP wanted to make her own dress, and she made that clear. This is OP's wedding, not her mother-in-law's. OP deserves to have her choices respected by her future family. And frankly, OP's mother-in-law sounds like one of those people whom it is more important that the wedding look perfect than that it be meaningful to the people getting married. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Al982 says, "Mix of not the a-hole and slight everyone sucks here. Yes, this is your wedding dress. You can do absolutely whatever you want with it, and she should respect that. On principle, you're 100% right. It's your wedding, but you're also marrying into his family. That doesn't mean you can't disagree, but it means being polite too. You could have called and said, 'This is lovely, but I'd really like to make my own.' It sounds like you blew up real fast. I can't even blame you for being angry, and I'm not saying I wouldn't, but you yourself said it probably took hours of work. She was trying to do something nice, super misguided, but maybe don't take it too hard." CoolMW93 says, "Not the a-hole. You shouldn't have even had dispute over this. Your wedding, your dress." Glom Forever says, "Not the a-hole. It is not about the quality of wedding dress. It is about you wanting to pick out, design, and make it, and about control of your dress. Doing a large, unasked-for thing for a person is not a favor or gift. It is creating an obligation. You need to straighten this out with your fiancé as well. Because what happens when she decides to gift you a house where she wants you to live? Or you have kids, and she starts gifting you things for the kids and not letting you guys pick them out. Do you get to pick the clothes, car seat, or bed for the kid?" I, 22 female, am getting married in spring 2022. I wanted to check out this bridal boutique down the road and look at some dresses. I invited my mom, my grandmother, my future mother-in-law, and my maid of honor, who is also my older brother's fiancé. He proposed a few months ago, but they want to wait until 2024 to get married, and they haven't picked a date yet. So once I found some times and days that worked for everyone, I called and set up the appointment. So the day of the appointment, I drove with my maid of honor, and we got there a few minutes early, and to my surprise, everyone else was already there. I walked in and the consultant walked up with 2 clipboards, one for me and one for my maid of honor. My mom goes, "Hi, sweetie. Do you mind if maid of honor tries on dresses too? I figured you wouldn't mind because, you know, she's getting married too." I felt like I was being put on the spot, and was just like, "Yeah, sure, of course," and started filling out my paper. I mean, it's not like I could have said no. Now, in order to fully understand my perspective, you have to know that my mother makes everything about my brother and his fiancée. I love her. Obviously, she's my maid of honor. But my mom literally has to make everything about them in some way. I was thinking to myself, wow, even my own dress appointment can't just be mine. Not that I'm not excited for my future sister-in-law too, but time and place. I kept my cool during my appointment though, and I did find the dress of my dreams. My maid of honor didn't try on dresses until after me, and of course I was very supportive during her turn. I didn't speak to my mom about it until a few days later. I just told her I kind of felt slighted on my day. She spun the whole thing around on me and basically said, I didn't realize you would get that way about it. Sorry. And the conversation was over. I didn't keep pressing. After talking with her, I feel kind of arrogant. After all, I don't need to be the center of attention. It just felt odd that I had gathered my closest people for this special appointment that I set up, which turned out to not be entirely mine. I had dinner with my future mother-in-law yesterday, as we do weekly, and I asked for her unbiased opinion. She apologized to me and said, I was going to say something to your mom before you got there, but then you walked in and your mom asked you how you felt about it, and you said you were okay with it, so I didn't want to interfere. I'm really sorry it happened though. So she seems to get it. But I guess I'd like to know if I'm just being a brat or if I'm justified in how I feel. Lay it on me, Reddit. But please be kind to all parties, as this is family we're talking about here. Edit for clarification. Maid of Honor's mom isn't really close to her because they had a falling out some years ago. I don't think they're on speaking terms. I know my mom feels bad and tries to overcompensate, so Maid of Honor feels like she has a mom too, which I totally get. But in my mind, this wasn't really the place, time to do it if it was taking away from her own daughter. OP is definitely not in the wrong here. It's for OP's wedding. Maid of Honor can set up an appointment closer to her day, and OP's mother can be as involved as she wants then. This was not a nice move on her part, and she refused to acknowledge OP's feelings too. She should have apologized and understood her mistake. I think OP is not being arrogant at all. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Blueberry Muffin says, not the a-hole. Stop talking to mom and start listening to mother-in-law. Don't invite your mom to these things unless you want to be upstaged by her favorite child and his fiancé. Your mom has shown clear favoritism. Maybe have a conversation with Maid of Honor to tell her you would like to keep events separate, so they're more special for both of you, and ask her if your mom is bothering her. For all you know, Maid of Honor was put on the spot too, and once you said yes, she felt like she couldn't back out. Maybe the two of you are feeling the same way about your mom's behavior. Planet Jane Lane 03 says, not the a-hole. Congratulations, you just got gaslit. Your mom knows better. She just didn't expect you to call her out on it. NBDI already says, not the a-hole. Your maid of honor should have refused to try on dresses after you. Now neither of you get a special day. I, female 24, have a stepsister, Amy, 32, who I fully admit that I dislike. My mom and her dad got married when I was 12, and they're great parents to us both. However, I just don't like who she is as a person. I'm not rude to her when I see her. I'm civil. I ask her how she is and all the regular questions you'd ask when seeing someone after a while. I just choose not to associate with her if I don't have to. 2 years ago, I found out I was pregnant, despite doctors saying my whole life it wouldn't be possible. During that time, Amy and I did get a little bit closer. It was small things like she would offer advice on baby items and brands. I appreciate this and took her advice, because despite my feelings towards her, I hadn't ever been able to fault her as a mom. She's a great mom to her kids, and her advice did mean a lot, and it helped. Amy even asked if she could make a cake for a gender reveal. I wanted to have her feel included as we had started to get close, so I accepted. I lost my baby a few weeks after the party, and that's when Amy and I began to distance again. She said incredibly hurtful things that I haven't been able to forgive. I found out I'm expecting again. When I told my family, she acted excited and started planning a gender reveal in front of me. I told her I don't want one. I don't care about the gender. I just want them to be healthy. Our whole family agreed not to do a party, and they understood. I was grateful. Last week, I went to a family meal at our parents' house, as my due date is soon, and we don't know when we can all be together again. When I got there, I found out Amy had completely ignored me and decided she was having a gender reveal. Obviously, I was pissed. After finding out that everyone but my parents knew what she had done, I decided that I would give a speech as they all requested. I said they were all disgusting, selfish, and ignorant. I said they won't be a part of my life if they won't respect the one thing I asked, and that since everyone knew I don't know the gender, someone must have broken the law for them all to know when even I don't. Our parents lost their minds. My mom told me to go to the kitchen and sit down so they could deal with it without causing me stress. There was a lot of screaming and shouting. I've only heard my stepdad shout once before, and that was when there was a firework accident when I was 15. They told everyone to get their crap and get out. Amy threw a gift at me, a personalized baby outfit. On top of everything, she decided she was going to be naming my baby, as evident by the name printed across the very bright outfit. This made it even worse, and I threw it straight into the open fire while staring at her. She left crying and screaming that I was an ungrateful bee for ruining her happiness and her day. Since then, I've only spoke to my parents who are being so great at shielding me from everyone. They're being called horrible names, and I'm wondering if I was in the wrong to kick off so much. So, am I the a-hole here? Dizzy Emotion says, not the a-hole. Find out how they got the gender. There's someone working at your doctor's office who should not be there. Let your parents handle the fallout. They're on your side for a reason. A pathetic stay-at-home mom says, not the a-hole. There's something wrong with your stepsister. She is weirdly obsessed with your baby. Notice how she didn't care about you unless you were pregnant. She said very hurtful things after your first pregnancy ended. You destroyed her happiness. She named your baby. She broke the law against your wishes. Amy is unhinged, and you need to be very careful around her. Don't let her near your baby, and don't allow her to have any other information about your pregnancy.